Hey everyone, Moto Shaman here. I wanted to do a review of the 25-liter SpiritBlade large Vikingbags. I had them mounted here on my 2024 Indian Scout Bobber for months now, and they've served me very well. So I wanted to get a review together and also show you the installation. I pulled this one off so that I can show you all the hardware, sizes of Allen heads needed, and how easy it was to get them installed. All right, I want to start by showing you that the stock bolts that come on the bracket here are an H6. I already loosened these up because I actually put them back in because they weren't in because this was already installed. So you can pull these out. You can lay them off to the side. You're not going to need them anymore. They give you replacement bolts. Carefully lay this down. You don't want to scratch anything on your bike, and you also have a cable connecting it here. Here are the replacement bolts they give you. These are an H5. So the order of these pieces on install is this bracket is going to come back up, line up with the holes. These spacers are going to go in these holes. This bracket, there's two of them, one for each side. The one you want goes on the side where it lines up with the bolts, the holes, but leaves these bolts parallel to the ground. That way your bag will be flat. And then the H5 screws. So it gets a little tricky. We'll put this one, put one through here, one on here. I'll start with that one. The rear one's usually a little trickier, so I probably should have started with the front one. No, let's see. There we go. Got H5 in there. There we go. One seated. And we'll do the same for the front one. Get it in there. Put it in there. Feed that through. Perfect. And then we'll tighten those up and torque them down to spec. One thing to note when installing these, make sure you get the right side. As you can see, there's a divot on this side, right there, to go over the exhaust, but not on the back end. That's the one that fits, or the shock, not the exhaust, sorry about that. That's the one that fits here, and then on the other side, it's got a divot to go over that shock on the opposite side. So let's mount this up. So a few things to note here. They provide you with washers. And they provide you with a nut that has a cap on it. One thing to note about these nuts that have caps on them is they're a little shallow. And so as you can see by the length of these bolts, it can poke the top off the cap, which is exactly what happened to me. So I chose to replace them with locking nuts instead. Two washers, two nuts. Just that simple. The nylon nuts that I chose are 1/2-inch nylon nuts from Home Depot or Lowe's or your hardware store of choice. So tighten those down as tight as you'd like them. Don't think there is a spec on this, but I wanted mine pretty tight, which is probably how I popped the head off of the original ones. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little more, because the more tighter I have them, you don't want to go too tight, obviously. You're just going through the back wall of that saddlebag. That's pretty good there. Yeah, see, that ain't going anywhere. So now that we've got them reinstalled, I wanted to go over how much room there actually is in here. I also use a 24 Road Glide with the bags on it, and I gotta be honest, I can do many trips with just the Indian and the 2 bags. I can fit leftovers, gloves, water bottle, a hat, and more, and I still have the other saddlebag. I wanted to go over the locking mechanism in these. First, the latching mechanism, which I am able to do with one hand because sometimes I only want to pull one glove off. Simple latches. And then these loops can be used to hold down straps. Most of the time I just let them dangle, but if you're going on a longer ride or you're going somewhere, you can have those tied down. And then the locking mechanism is operated with the keys they provide. Lock that down. That is not openable. Even if you unlatch it, it's not being opened. You can see inside where it latches. Right here, through the hook, right here. And that's it. A few things to keep in mind. When you're closing these, make sure you let these flaps close. That's what keeps it waterproof. Occasionally I get one that I don't pay attention to and it tucks under, but if you pay attention to it, then they won't. I don't lock it most of the time, I just latch them, and that's more than enough. I've washed the bike several times with that being the case. And they just look amazing. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this review of the SpiritBlade 25-liter saddlebags by Viking. If you have any questions, please let me know on YouTube at Moto Shaman with 2 N's or on Instagram at the same username. Thank you.